Boker Tov. My name is Sarah Wiener, and I am the proud grandmother of 8 Czech graduates, 2 of them from this school. It is a privilege for me to be here today and tell you about mine and my family's experiences during the war. When my daughter Ilana asked me to speak for Yom HaShoah, I hesitated because it brings back horrible memories that I endured as a child. But I also felt that it is my obligation to bear witness as a representative of the children who will never smile, who will never stand beneath a wedding canopy, and in the name of the parents whose children were torn from their arms. For the grandmothers, grandfathers whose screams were never heard. The Nazis did not want the victims to be remembered. They were very devious in hiding their atrocities so that the world would never learn about them. We were concerned that should the final solution be 100% successful, that nobody would be left to bear witness. Therefore, when all was lost, families, friends, and there seemed to be nothing left to live for, we still had one strong reason to strive for survival so that we might live to tell the world the true story, and the perpetrator should not be able to falsify it. We who survived must tell the world what really happened. You have probably heard from others who survived the concentration camps. Now I will tell you a very unique and miraculous story of one lucky family, my family. Before the war, my parents, my 3 sisters, and I lived a very comfortable life in a small town in Poland called Nowy Korczyn. In 1939, when the Germans invaded Poland, persecutions against Jews started immediately and increased steadily. The Jews were evacuated from the big cities, and many lost their homes, and many were killed. When the Germans invaded our town, they burned the synagogue and started to kill people for no reason. My father's business was taken over by a German commissar, but we were allowed to continue to live in our house. In 1942, we first heard about Aussiedlung, so-called evacuation of Jews, and we were afraid that the same thing would happen in our town. At that point, a Polish Catholic man, Józef Matsugowski, told my father that he would help if necessary. There were evacuations before, and the Nazis had everyone convinced that people went to labor camps. My parents had 4 little girls, and they wondered what happened to little children. The cruel answer of mass murder and total exterminations of all children occurred to no one. This was the 20th century, and the Germans were supposed to be civilized people. The German commissar who was taking over and learning my father's business confided to my father how much he worried about being sent to the Russian front. This encouraged my father to ask him, what happens to the children when there is an Aussiedlung? He answered without hesitation, in a matter-of-fact way, they will be sent to Himmelsschule, the school in heaven. Now our parents knew that even if they would be taken to a war camp, the children would perish. They decided they would hide when the Aussiedlung came. In November 1942, early in the morning, we heard over the loudspeaker, "Alle Juden heraus zum Bahnhof," all Jews out to the town square. We heard it over and over again. 4,000 Jews emerged from their homes, leaving everything behind. The horror began. I remember an SS officer shouting at one woman, "Raise your hands." She was holding her newborn baby. "Throw it away," he shouted, but she did not, and both of them were shot to death. As you can imagine, this memory has stayed with me my whole life. Most of the Jews were sent away, but about 150 people were left, including my family. We stayed in the ghetto for a few months. What I remember most vividly about the time is one instance when an SS car came in the middle of the night and told my father to get dressed and go outside. They tied him to a tree. And we heard 2 shots. The SS car came back to the house and said, "We killed your father, and who is next?" And started pointing to my mother and then to us. At this point, my older sister Zahava, she was 10 years old, stood up and said, "If you killed my father, kill me too." At this point, Lieutenant said that he has a daughter the same age and that she would not have done this for him. Then he told us that it had been a joke, and my father came back to us. My brave sister Zahava passed away before she was able to tell her stories to her grandchildren. Then there were rumors that they were going to liquidate the Jewish ghetto. My father started to make arrangements for the family to go into hiding. For his mother and sister to one Polish family, my older sister Rita to a different family. For the rest of us, he had made plans for us to hide in the cellar of the Polish couple that had offered to help Józef and Stefan Matsugowski. We thought that by having us in different places, that at least somebody would survive. When my father found out that it was likely that the ghetto was going to be liquidated in the next few days, he got us up in the middle of the night and we went to the Matsugowski's house. As soon as we got there, the kids were rushed to the barn and we hid in the haystacks. The adults prepared the cellar as best as they could, and we went into the bunker. The entire space was only about 12 feet by 13 and only 3 feet deep. It was so shallow that not even the smallest child could stand up straight. It was close to the river, and so they couldn't make it any deeper, or the water would start to come in. We thought that we would be there for only a few days, but we ended up staying there for 2.5 years. We started out with 3 adults and 4 children, and we were already packed like sardines. But when my father heard that there was a teenage boy and another Jewish man stranded in the woods, he encouraged Józef to hide them with us. So we ended up being 9 people in the small space. We couldn't stand up. The kids learned how to cry soundlessly and we only hoped that we wouldn't starve. The most that we got each day was a sliver of bread and some water. My father never finished his piece of bread, leaving it for the children, and we children left it for my mother, who was not in the best of health. We had children playing outside, but we did not understand why we couldn't play too. My father reassured us that it would be over soon and we would be free. Of course, then we had no idea how lucky we were. My grandmother, my aunt were murdered by Poles shortly after they went into hiding, and my oldest sister Rita was kicked out of her hiding place and ended up in the ghetto. When the ghetto was liquidated, Rita was sent to the line of young and weak who were destined to be killed. But at the last minute, she was saved by her future husband, who pulled her up by her arm onto the truck with people who were chosen to war camp. In the bunker, there were times when we thought that the Nazis were going to find us. We begged the Matsugoskis to give us poison so that we might die in dignity and not be killed by the SS. The Matsugoskis refused. When it seemed that things couldn't possibly get worse, the cruelest blow of all came. The front was near, and the Nazis chose the Matsugoskis' home as their headquarters because of where it was located. The Matsugoskis were told to leave. They begged to stay, but were not allowed. For days, there were no food in the bunker. The Matsugoskis decided to come back and offer to work as servants in the new German headquarters. The Germans finally agreed to let them stay on as workers as they were able to continue bringing us food so that we could live. After the Nazis took over the Matsugoskis out, we heard the voices of the Germans reporting to their superiors in Berlin, calling our town Judenfrei, of Jews. Sometime earlier, when the Matsugoskis still lived in their house, we heard their neighbors and friends telling them how happy they were that there were no more Jews in their town, except for one family, the Ratzas, who might still be around, but no one knew where they were hidden. When the war ended in 1945, the Matsugoskis took us to the next town out of fear that if the neighbors learned that they were saved Jews, they might be harmed. Our first step outside the bunker was wobbly. A Russian soldier thought that my father was drunk and had gotten his children drunk. He threatened to kill my father over this. They wanted some vodka too. We had a lot of explaining to do. We went back to our town and found that our home had been bombed. The new Polish authorities assigned us a room. We had been there only a few days when someone threw a grenade into the room. Fortunately, we escaped without harm. This let us know that even after the war, it was dangerous for Jews to live in Poland, especially in small towns. We left our town quickly for the big city, Lodz, hoping to find more Jewish people. In Lodz, we met survivors from concentration camps. They told us that my sister Rita had died of typhus in camp. 1 month later, Rita appeared. She had survived in Bergen-Belsen, the concentration camp. Even our mother did not recognize her. She had lost a lot of weight and her hair was shaven off. Soon after we went to Munich to the DP camp, even though I was still a young girl in high school, I began to work for what would soon become the Israeli consulate. Eventually, we were able to come to the United States, where we found a new home, a haven. I wanted to forget for many years of suffering that I had experienced as a young child. I never wanted to talk about the past. Still, my family and I remembered the Matsugovskis and what they had risked in order to save our lives. Finally, in the 1980s, when the Cold War was over, my sister Zahava, as a chronologica of blessed memory, started to search and was able to find our saviors. She made arrangements for the Matsugovskis to come to the United States, visit us, and receive the appreciation that they deserve. You can only imagine the emotional scene at Kennedy Airport when my sister and I were reunited with the Matsugovskis, now elderly and somewhat frail. The reunion was made more dramatic by a group suddenly being surrounded by reporters. The Matsugovskis were to be honored at a special dinner by a Jewish organization which had issued a press release. Suddenly, I found my voice and was able to tell the stories of what happened during the war. I wanted these reporters to tell everybody about the Matsugovskis and their heroism, as well to tell about the 6 million Jews who were not lucky to have somebody save them. My own children had never heard the specific about the horrible years of the war, and now they were hearing them for the first time on Good Morning America or reading about them in the New York newspapers. My very good friends saw the story on the 6 o'clock news and couldn't believe that they didn't know about this part of my life. So much has been said in justified anger about the perpetrators of the Holocaust. Now is the time to speak about the good people, like the Matsugovskis. They were the just among the nation of the war who saved Jews at mortal danger to themselves and their family. The Talmud says that the world exists because of a very few righteous people, the 36 just people. No matter the religion, these humble, few, truly righteous people are the pillars on which this world stands. We hope that someday their influence will be so contagious that goodness will become the nature of all mankind. I hope and pray that today I did my part, however small, in remembering the agony and heroism of those not fortunate enough to survive the Holocaust. May we never forget them. Thank you.